Let's have a show. Braun, Pierzynski, Maybin. I want to shout out our friends at Baseball America. They just came out with a fresh top 100 pop quiz. Who has the most top 100 prospects in baseball right now? One team leads the pack by a good margin.
Not the Red Sox.
No, they're high up. They have.
It should be the White Sox with all the trades they made, but it's not.
The Red Sox and the White Sox both have 6, which is tied for second. The Dodgers also have 6, which is tied for second. There's a bunch of teams with 5. There's one team with 8. It's a lot. Want me to tell you? AJ, it's one of my favorite teams.
Seattle?
I watch them a lot.
No,
Seattle.
Can't be Seattle.
No.
Seattle, really?
It is.
Wow.
Seattle has 8.
Wow.
How about that? Cam, you're muted, but you look great. Tell me what you got.
That's it. And how many of those are arms? Because they do a great job of stacking arms.
I think there's actually a good chunk of position players. It's something we can crack into at some point.
Man, Seattle. And speaking of Seattle, being on my guy AJ, what about that offense and one of the best hitting coaches out there?
He hates that offense because he hates homers.
Boy, what?
It ain't the hitting coach. It's Edgar Martinez and Dan Wilson. That's what it is.
Cut it out.
It ain't the other guy. I promise you that. It ain't that other guy.
Look at the Braves. Hey, I'm just saying.
Well, there's a reason he got fired from the Braves last year because they suck.
It's been a scuffle over there in Atlanta since he left, and all of a sudden the Marlins are hitting.
Yeah, but come on, it ain't.
I mean, the Mariners.
So how come when you fire the hitting coach? How come when he got fired from Atlanta last year for being crappy, they ain't hitting this year?
What did he do? What did he do for the 4 years prior to that? He ruined them, is what he did.
I know what he didn't do.
4 years prior to that, he broke records offensively. They broke records offensively.
I'll tell you what he didn't do. He didn't do drills he didn't like. He didn't do drills that he didn't invent. I know that. I know he talks. I can't say that. He talked a lot of trash about players. I know that too.
Well, see, I don't know about all of that. I just know.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen it with my own two peepers. I seen it on his phone.
That's
like
a different conversation.
Because when you have your messages and the letters are this big, you should not have people be able to see it.
He got the old man. He got the grandpa font. You got the old man, the grandpa font where everybody.
No comment. I'm just saying. It ain't because of him.
Man. Hey, shout out Seattle Mariners offense. I see you.
I'm here, right? I am here. I'm a spectator right now. I am here for as many minutes as possible of AJ versus Cam on Mariners hitting coaches. Edgar Martinez.
I like to get him riled up. AJ, I love AJ. I just know how to push it. I know how to press his buttons a little bit. I know how to press those buttons a little bit.
Well, they've got 2, right, AJ? They've got 2 guys running the hitting department, right?
Yeah. Well, they have 3, really, if you count Edgar. I mean, listen, Bobby Magianis is fine. I got no problem. And Edgar's great. He's in the Hall of Fame.
and we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
we're gonna leave it. And we're gonna stop right there.
AJ's got a few people on his list, and that's one. I know. I feel like the list might be like 5. It's not that long.
There's not that many. There's not that many.
Nah.
There's not that many people on my list. There's a couple. There's a couple reporters, and there's only really one coach that I can think of that. And
then there's a couple players.
What do you mean?
Think of 2.
What do you mean? For what?
That are not your favorites. I'm not going to say
one.
Them, but
there's one that I for sure. I don't know who the other one would be. There's one for sure that people know that know me.
Right. Exactly. So let's call it 1 or 2 players, 2 reporters. And
there's 2. Yeah. There's 2 reporters that if I could meet them in an alley, it would be fun.
Oh man.
So we've got a total of 4 to 5. This is good. Yeah. I like this. This is a good exercise. We've got 4 to 5, which, hey, some people would probably be like, oh, AJ's probably got a long list. You know, he played for a long time. He got into it with people, whatever. He was a gamer. No, he's got 4 or 5. It's pretty tame. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have probably a couple broadcasters.
I mean, as far as the player list goes, I mean, it's only because of things that happened, well, during and after, but I played, but whatever. It's all good. You got to move on. You got to learn to move on, and I have. I've matured over my years. But there are always some things you never forget. And there's certain people that do things that you can never forget, and you never trust them. And there's certain reasons why certain reporters don't ever get asked to come on the show.
Facts. And we bring a lot of reporters on the show, which we'll do pretty soon, too. We'll get our first one going in about 10 minutes, but let's charge first. And our buddy Jim Bowden put out a tweet yesterday that kind of summed up some news that was going on. And let's actually start with the Mariners. So they claim Leody Taveras, and that actually saves the Texas Rangers a few $1 million. You've got the Yankees designating Carlos Carrasco for assignment. The Dodgers did officially place Teoscar Hernandez on the IL with a hamstring injury. Callahan has the broken forearm. He's IL. It's that terrible injury in the outfield. And then Mike Shildt, this was the joke at the end, does not have scratched glasses after he tossed them in his argument a few days ago. But let's start with Leody Taveras. I mean, we've covered this a couple times already this week. So, Cam, we can get your take here since Texas did pick up a nice win yesterday. Chris Young is not going to wait all season again, right? The offense was really good in 2023. They won a World Series. Not good last year. Big problems with the fastball. They make pickups like Jake Berger and Jock Peterson, both of them not working out so far. Jock's been ice cold if you're looking at the first 6 weeks of the year. Jake Berger's now down in the minor leagues right now. Leody Taveras was cut and just claimed by Seattle. And they got rid of Donnie Ecker and added Brett Boone. So there's actually a lot of Seattle-Texas connectivity going on here right now. The Mariners pick up Taveras to be part of their outfield. I don't know what the deal is going to be with Victor Robles, but if he comes back at all, it's probably going to be late.
Yeah, I think for the Mariners, it was an insurance policy when you look at that Victor Robles trade, and they're thinking a change of scenery will be good. And you look at Leody Taveras, you look at a guy going back to the World Series where he showed a glimpse off both sides of the plate, defensively, athletically. He showed a glimpse that he could be above average big leaguer. And then the last couple of years, it just hasn't happened. He struggled. He really hasn't seemed to find his footing. So, when you look at that and the lack of other guys who are not expendable, they had to make a move. And what I love about this, I told somebody earlier, is I love that Chris Young is behind this and he isn't satisfied with the World Series. Chris Young is an ex-player, and I appreciate more ex-players like Chris Young. We've seen what Buster Posey has put together in San Francisco. Guys like Chris Young, they're not going to wait around and be happy with that one championship. They're not going to wait around and watch a team underachieve. And as a front office, sometimes you can do things like try to find the right guys who can convey a message with the offense. It's specifically talking about how the offense has struggled, or somebody that may just click differently, may bring a different energy, a different vibe. Like AJ said, things happen behind doors that we don't know about. And sometimes, it just doesn't work out. And I also assume that even, with these moves made, I just assume Chris Young is a guy who went into those, went to the clubhouse, maybe talked to Seager, maybe talked to Simeon. Not saying they were throwing anybody under the bus, but hey, they might have said, this just isn't connecting, or just isn't making sense, or it's not clicking for us. And it's forced them to make some decisions. And, with that roster, they want to win. They're not happy or they're not satisfied. So as a fan, I appreciate the effort from the front office, not just sitting on their hands, not waiting on the players to just figure it out, but also trying to do their part and help out.
AJ, I feel like you've covered a decent amount of Texas Rangers ball. Were you surprised that Taveras got picked up?
No. He can be a good player. He's proven he can be a good player. But the most important thing in the news dump is Mike Shilt's glasses didn't get scratched. Like, I don't care about this player or that player doing this. Mike Shilt's glasses didn't get scratched. Why are we talking about this guy getting picked up? Or this? Like, let's talk about the real important stuff here. Mike Shildt chucked his glasses, and he showed us all they didn't get scratched. So, Shilty, you can come on the show and discuss what kind of glasses you wear. Maybe we can get a sponsorship.
I was gonna say, AJ, we gotta find out that brand though, AJ. That's the biggest thing, because AJ, when we was coming up, it was all about lens crafters. All right, all I know is lens crafters. So I know they got all these different brands out there right now. We got to find out the brand of those glasses 100%.
I mean, that's great. Adrian Johnson's taking the brunt of it right there. The pen goes, the lineup card goes, the glasses go. Nothing hurt in the process, kids. No animals were hurt in this process.
Hey,
And you know
AJ, let me
what?
ask you
He
this.
loved it. He did the right
How
thing.
many,
I loved it because you know why? Tatis got ejected, and he knew I got to stand up for my guy, and he went out there and he did it, and the team responded and got him a W.
and apparently there was some history there between those two. But what got me about it, AJ, I'm not sure how many times you got tossed, but what does it do as you're like you got your players back, or you're the player and you're going off, and the umpire gives you that the Adrian Johnson, he just gives that like little smirk. Like, does that just piss you off even more and just make you go even more overboard? Because it seemed like he gave Shilty that little smirk, like kind of like, all right, like whatever. Oh, and Shilty just gave it to him more. I love the energy. I love the passion. And I said this years ago. It always starts with the manager. The past 2 seasons, this is the most together the Padres have been, and it's because of that guy right there and his awesome glasses.
Yeah.
That's all you got? Yeah.
I mean, what else am I going to say? Yeah. I mean, umpires, when I got kicked out, Cam, I just walked back because I was like, I knew I didn't want to get
Yeah.
suspended for too long. So I knew when I got kicked out, I'd yell at him and I just turn around and walk away because I didn't want to know what they had to
Right.
say. And I didn't want to look at their face because then I would just get angrier. The only time I ever got ejected, well, there was a couple times I got ejected and laughed. But one of them, Bob Davidson called a pitch on me, and I love Bob, but he called a pitch on me. It almost hit me from Mariano's, and I threw my helmet. And it spun at his feet. It was great. And he kicked me out. And after the game, we saw each other in the tunnel. And I just said, you know, Bob, you were right. You deserve to kick me out. He goes, why'd you throw your helmet? I go, because I was so damn mad that you cost me that at bat in a close game. And he goes, okay, fair enough. But that was it. We laughed about it after the game. But now listen, if getting ejected is a part of it, and sometimes you just got to do it. And Shildt knew, understood, and he did it. So I love it.
Especially if you're a manager, you don't play. So you're not losing ABs or anything. It's one regular season game. No big deal.
You find like $500 and whatever. You send it to a charity and you move on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Jaylon Thompson's going to join us next. The Royals have been balling. They had a slow start. It's turning around. We'll talk about it. FT fan, by now, you know if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL. Use code FAL. Hey, we got word on Yordan Alvarez. Chandler Rome, who writes for The Athletic and is the host of Crush City Territory, says an MRI revealed Yordan has a muscle strain in the top of his right hand. Manager Joe Espada called it good news and said the Astros hope he can be swinging a bat when they return home from this road trip. So this has been a deep team for years, Cam. It just seems a little bit thinner, especially position player-wise, and we talked about this yesterday, so we can get your take for a minute. They feel it when Yordan's out. I'd say more so than they had in the past, right? It'd be like, oh, Yordan's out, but Kyle Tucker's on a heater right now, right? And obviously, if we're going further back, there's Correa and Springer and guys like that. But, they keep losing guys. They're not going to produce superstars on a yearly basis.
Listen, and I think what I see too, Scotty, this is what I feel. And sometimes it's too is a product of how much money are you willing to spend. Sometimes when you have a winning product and you develop a winning culture, you start to believe that all your prospects and the people coming through the pipelines are going to be those guys that have got you there, right? So I don't know if I want to call it undervaluing what they've done, but I think sometimes you start to get lost in your own sauce of what the guys who are I won't say generational. Some are generational, but the all-stars that are hard to come by, the all-stars that are hard to find, I think sometimes you take for granted just what they've done and how good they are and how tough it is to be consistent at the big league level. So when you name those guys, Altuve, Bregman's, they miss them. So now it's a lot on Yordan. Altuve's out in left field, not what he's doing out there. They've got problems.
Jaylon Thompson is the Kansas City Star Royals reporter. He's back on with us on FT right now. Jaylon, good to see you. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you guys doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're great. So what looks different the past couple weeks for Kansas City? Because this team's playing really good ball.
You know, when I talked to Salvador Perez, it was a couple weeks ago. He said that the team had a meeting. Well, I won't say like a meeting, but they all just kind of got together and they were talking about it, and they were saying that we're just doing too much. And this is when they came off of the 10-game road trip where they went 2-8, and they lost a lot of games they probably could have won if they actually hit the baseball. So Salvi was saying, we're doing too much. Everybody's trying to, be the hero. We just have to get back to playing simple and pass the bat along. And I think that's what you kind of seen. The pitching has always been there this season, but now the offense is starting to put some things together. And I think the really key part about all of this is you're seeing production from guys that you probably didn't count on earlier this season to be what the Royals need them to be in the lineup, like Maikel Garcia, Drew Waters. And I think that collective group is helping. And now you're seeing Salvi and Vinny Pasquantino and Bollywood Jr. starting to get going. So the Royals are rolling right now.
Hey, Jaylon, is there any chance, right, as you got this young team, exciting team, athletic team, they do a little bit of everything, is there any chance that the fan base may get a Jack Caglione sighting? And what would it take for him to break his way out of AAA and into Kansas City?
Yeah, what's up, Cameron? I just he's gonna come. He's coming. He's on the way. But I tell everyone this, and the Royals have said it as well. It's you have to resist the urge to want to bring him up too early. So he's killing it right now in AA. 4 home runs in his last 3 games. Yesterday hit his first multi-home run game as a professional. We know what type of power that Jack Caglione brings. AJ knows this very well. The 9 home runs he hit in 9 straight games in Florida last year. The Royals want to bring him along slowly. They want him to see pitchers in AA multiple times. They want him to learn the outfield. They want him to continue to just grow as a professional so that once he gets to the majors, he doesn't go back down. And I think what we'll see, I'm projecting this. I don't know if it will happen or not, but I think he'll get to AAA really soon, and then we'll see what he does in AAA. And then from there, I think he'll be ready to come to the big leagues.
Hey, Jaylon. Well, first of all, I talked to Cortaro on Saturday, and this question was posed, not by me, but by Jason Minetti. And he asked him this direct question, what are the chances? He said there's definitely a chance, but like you said, they're going to play it slow because they don't want to rush him. And they're honestly, they're kind of like, we don't really have a spot for him. I guess the outfield, but he's trying to learn the outfield. They have Pasquantino at first. They like to keep DH open for Salvi if he needs a day, or if Pasquantino or one of the other guys needs a day as a DH. So he made it pretty obvious that, yes, he's on their radar, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It could happen down the road, but he's got to learn how to play the outfield, and it's just not there, right? So you're on track. You're on track with that, Jaylon. And the biggest thing, for me that the Royals started doing is they started hitting some home runs. I mean, I did a game on Saturday. They had 15 homers going into that game, right? And then they've been on a homer barrage. And by the way, just to say this for your tweet, when you say how the Royals overcame, well, the White Sox had a pop-up hit the guy in the head and all this other crazy stuff. So you're welcome for that win for the Royals yesterday because the White Sox literally headed it to them.
Have you ever had something happen like that to you in your career where a ball bounces?
I've never had one hit me in the head. I've never had one bounce off my head before. I missed a pop-up, but I think everyone's probably missed a pop-up. Aaron Judge missed a pop-up, right? But I never had one go boonk.
I have never seen anything like that. And, I've been watching baseball all my life just to see how that inning kind of unraveled. Now, I'm going to give you a little insight of what it's like to be a beat reporter and writing the story. So I had 2 different stories going. One if they win, one if they lose. I'm pretty much typing in, okay, the White Sox have at least the ninth inning. You don't expect them to give it up. So I have the Royals have lost the game. But then I started seeing all this stuff go on, and I'm like, well, I need to figure out how I'm going to craft this story where they come back and win. So it was just calamity. It was zany. It was chaotic. And it kind of felt like, and Kyle Isbell told us this after the game, when they got Bobby Witt Jr. up, it felt like the game was over. That's how they felt, and he came through, and then the Royals won. So I guess the great Denny Matthews, he said that was a game where the good teams find a way to win and the bad teams find a way to lose, and that kind of what happened yesterday.
Hey, Jaylon, we talked about the offense kind of starting to, pick it up a little bit, and we'll get back to that. But I want to talk about a guy, and I won't say star. I'll say he's becoming a stud. Kris Bubic, can you talk about his emergence and how he's been able to be dominant as he's been, and then also touch on Vinny Pasquantino, the Pasquatch, how he's been able to turn it around because this offense needs him. We know his personality is big and great, but they need him to produce. Can you talk about those two guys?
For sure. Kris Bubic, he's a guy that came back from Tommy John surgery last year. So to kind of understand how Kris Bubic has gotten to where he is now, you have to look at 2023. 2023, he was starting in the Royals rotation, and it wasn't the best year for the Royals. They lost 106 games. Part of that reason was he was one of the young guys they were counting on to be a starter. He gets Tommy John after pitching great in San Francisco and then pitching against the Atlanta Braves early in the season. So he's out. So with the Tommy John surgery, he's working his way back. And then last year, the Royals had their starting rotation pretty much set, but they knew Bubic was coming back. He's a left-hander. He can really pitch. He has a great baseball IQ. So he goes to the bullpen, and as a reliever, he shines. And he was a key part of them making the playoffs last year. He was really big against the Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees. The Royals made a point to make him a starter again this offseason, and they truly believe in what he can do. He went out, he earned a job in spring training, and he's probably been their best pitcher so far this season. So it's just a whole story of just him overcoming, doing whatever's asked of him, and now he's really shining. A lot of credit goes to Brian Sweeney, Zach Bove. Those are the Royals pitching coaches for really helping him get to where he's at. He has terrific pitch mix and a great arsenal. So I think that is the reason why he's been so great in that rotation. And then Vinny Pasquantino, he is someone where he has verbally said, and he told us in Baltimore, if I'm going to hit third in the Royals lineup, I have to produce. I have to be the guy that they are counting on. And he started out a little slow, and he was frustrated, but then he turned it on. And one thing that he's really good at is when he can get hot, he can carry an offense. So he adds protection for Bobby Witt Jr. batting third, and then he has Salvador Perez batting behind him. So he can be someone that can carry this team. Last year he got hurt and he nearly had 100 RBIs. So, and he missed 30 games down the stretch. So I think he can be that run producer that they need.
So Jaylon, listen, I want to stay there on Vinny. You see a lot of analytic data and guys chasing, launch angle and bat speed. And I think he said, he was chasing bat speed. Has he mentioned anything about that and not really, and going back to maybe his old version of himself and not really worrying about that? Like, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, he makes a lot of adjustments, and a lot of that he tries to keep to himself so he can continue to just get better. But you can tell in talking to the hitting coaches that his adjustments are just getting back to hitting the ball to all fields, making sure that his bat head stays in the zone a little bit longer so that he can spray it to where it's pitched at pretty much. And I think for Vinny, the key for him is once he starts to hit the ball hard, hit it to the gaps, getting over the fence, I think that's where he really turns it on. It's funny. They were in Baltimore in the first inning. He struck out with, I guess, a runners on base in scoring position. So then there's a rain delay, and he's like, I have to go do something. So he shaves his beard during the rain delay, and he has a mustache. And then he comes out and hits a home run and helps the Royals win. So It's pretty cool. I know baseball is full of superstitions and everything of that nature, but that was one literal adjustment that he did. So he shaved and it helped him, help power the Royals to a win. So I thought it was pretty cool that he did that.
Hey, I was at that game. I sat through that rain delay, right? So I didn't notice that because I wasn't paying attention to Vinny's face, but yeah, he did hit a home run later in that game. So it worked. Sometimes you got to do some crazy stuff. Something I want to talk about, or somebody I want to talk about, Jaylon, that nobody mentions outside of maybe Kansas City, Michael Garcia. He's having an unbelievable year. He's leading the team in hitting. He plays a great third base. Nobody outside of Kansas City knows anything about this guy, and he's turning himself into a bona fide star.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought him up, AJ. I firmly believe that Michael Garcia is having an all-star caliber campaign this year. I know it's early, but to see where he's come from to where he is now, it's been truly remarkable. And that's just both on the field and off the field. On the field, there were times last year where he would get into a slump or a cold spell, and you can see in his body language that he was just very hard on himself. It would affect how he would play the game, and where he needed to be a key cog in the Royals offense, he just wasn't there at that point. The Royals batted him 8th in the lineup. He was a leadoff hitter last year. He got dropped all the way down. If you would have came into this year and you said Michael Garcia is going to be batting 4th or 5th in the Royals lineup, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people would have believed you. But that's just the work that he's put in. It's a testament to his hard work. One thing that really stood out about him this year was he got rid of a leg kick and he went to a toe tap. And this toe tap has allowed him to stop diving into the strike zone when he's swinging and stay more balanced and firm. And he's getting to fastballs now. And that's been the key to him being successful. And I mentioned off the field how he's grown. Last year, he was really not speaking English the way, like when he's talking to the media. So he worked with the Royals and he learned English. He watched videos of different interviews. He was able to study the language. And then he said, I want to really speak English fully without a translator this year. And that's what he's been doing. So it's really been great to see him kind of grow and evolve.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, last thing for me. I saw JJ Piccolo, and I obviously get to talk to Matt Quatraro when I go into these clubhouses and get to see him. Are those two the calmest two guys in the world? I mean, Matt Quatraro, it was like he's just sitting there and he's talking. His voice never changed. He never got too high, too low. And then you see JJ. My favorite part is like I see some of these guys that I've known for a while, and JJ Piccolo's like, hi, JJ Piccolo. I'm like, I know who you are, dude. You don't have to introduce yourself. And then he grabs your hand, and I was like, wow, he's got a good handshake. But these two guys are like the calmest two dudes in the world.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when I first met Matt Quatraro, it was very much apparent that he's not too high, not too low. He's very day to day. He wants to, focus on the mantra of today, which is you can't control what happened yesterday, and tomorrow is not promised. You have to play and stay in the moment. And I think that's the cue that the team has taken on themselves. You look at the Royals; they're very hyper focused on. We can't worry about where we are in the standings. We can't worry about the division. We can't worry about not making the deeper run in the playoffs last year. We have to focus on what is important right now. And I think you see it top down from Salvador Perez to Bobby Witt Jr. to the pitching staff to the coaches to everyone. And that same goes with JJ Piccolo. He is someone that he's very accessible. He's able, you can talk to him anytime you need to as a reporter, and that's very important. Like he's on the road trips, he's just very in tune to what the team is doing, and I think they feed off each other very well.
Jaylon, this was awesome, man. Really good insight. Great to have you on. Encouraging everyone, of course, to check out Jaylon's work. Follow him on Twitter. Check out his work in the Kansas City Star. If you're in KC, locally following this team, it's a good team. So check out what he's got. Jaylon, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much. Talk to you guys soon.
Yes, talk to you soon. This is a Kansas City Royals team that obviously had a really successful year last year. They lost 100 games the year before. And then last year, turn it around, make a nice little playoff run. They're in a division that did not get a lot of credit last year. I feel like there's a lot more respect this season for the American League Central. All right. If you're watching on Marquee, thanks for watching. You got a little Cubs action going on. Everybody else is hanging with us for another hour and a half. Trevor, I need caffeine every day. And for me, it's cold, not hot. So I go cold brew. I've been a Trade coffee customer for a long time now. I don't want to go to the grocery store and get the concentrate. Can you deliver me the kit, please?
Absolutely. Trade can do that for you. Who wants to get the concentrate at the store anyways? You don't even know when that stuff was made, when you can just set it, forget it at home, and have more cold brew coffee than you can ever hope for. I love doing that. It's a fun little activity also, and Trade allows you to do it.
Yes, they hook you up with the best beans specifically for cold brew from top roasters across the U.S. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S. for both hot and cold coffee drinkers. For a limited time, they're giving away a free Harry-O cold brewer when you sign up for a cold brew subscription when you go to drinktrade.com/foul. That's drinktrade.com/foul to get your free cold brew maker with select cold brew subscriptions. That's drinktrade.com/foul. Hey, we're here looking at a Sarah Lang's tweet. I texted Sarah happy birthday the other day, by the way, in the clip, the shout out from Friday. She said, loves the FT fam and everybody on here. So hello, Sarah, if you're watching. But anyway, she said most career walks before turning 27. That was the tweet. Soto is at 798, passing Mickey Mantle at 797. And Soto turns 27 years old on October 25th, which is, at World Series time at that point, I guess, AJ. So obviously the games played, you're never going to get both, right? You either look at the games played or the age. But the age here does tell us how much Soto's going to, be able to dominate the category still for a long time. I don't think he's going to lose the plate discipline anytime soon.
No, that man loves to walk. That man loves to walk. He loves to walk. He loves to walk more, I think, than he loves to hit, but he loves to walk. So he's got a lot of walks. He's going to keep getting walks. That's what he does. He walks.
Votto did it for 20 years.
Votto, that's what you do. Walk your way to the Hall of Fame. I always thought you had to hit your way, but it's a new age now. You can walk your way to the Hall of Fame. And I get it. I get plate discipline's important, but you also got to have a little bit of you when there's a guy on third and less than 2 outs, and I don't care who's sitting behind you. You might have to expand a little bit and put the ball in play or drive the guy in. I get it. Walks are important. I'm just saying. Sometimes you might have to expand a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I'm with AJ. It's great. That's great accomplishment. But $800 for $1 billion, 254, 5 homers, 14 RBIs. I don't give a damn about the walks. Let's go. Like AJ said, expand the zone, drive somebody in. Let's go.
All right, let's go over some games from yesterday. The Giants meeting up with the Cubs, and you look at the score and you're like, they blew them out. Yeah, and extras. That 11th inning was insane. I mean, AJ, you don't see that very often. Things can get out of hand, but that level of out of hand, 14-5 was the final score of that one yesterday. So it's tied for the highest scoring 11th inning since 1900. Last team to score 9 runs in the 11th, the Padres. I mean, I don't really care, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever. It's just a team absolutely annihilated another team in the 11th.
Yeah, you just don't see this. That's the thing. You just don't see this in this new style of the way with the runner on second. Most teams try to get 1, maybe 2, but the hits and the mistakes just kept on coming, and the Giants put it on them. I remember I looked at this when it was 5-5, and I was like, oh, all right, I'll turn this on. And then I looked away for a minute, and it was 12-5, and then I looked back, and I was like, dang, they scored 9 runs in 1 inning? That's a good extra inning right there.
Yeah, that was great. But what I loved about it the most is when you watch the highlight, everything stayed in the ballpark, right? I appreciate the teams who I think are making us realize, and it kind of goes to the walk, and it's great. But like when AJ talks, and I think he would have kind of has that old school mentality, like, what happened to being able to produce runs, manufacture runs? I saw a bunt there. I don't know if it was a safety squeeze or a suicide squeeze, one of the two. But like a team manufacturing runs, and again, Buster Posey, a baseball guy, putting baseball players on the field and not just one-trick ponies. So you have a team who doesn't rely on the homer, and they don't feast their famine off of it. So for me, it just shows you how special it is when we can get back to a team that can actually play baseball. I love it.
Yeah, and we're showing the record here. 3 weeks after a record 16 runs in a single inning at Wrigley. That was Cubs D-backs. Another record. This is 9 runs in the 11th, most scored in an extra inning in Wrigley Field history. By the way, on the other side, AJ, Kyle Harrison made his first career relief appearance. I mean, he's had good stuff. It hasn't worked out for him yet as a starter. The Giants have a pretty good bullpen. To me, when I'm watching this game yesterday, I'm like, okay, the Cubs' flaw and issue could be the bullpen, right? And for the Giants, that could be their best strength.
Maybe they trade. Maybe they make a little tradey trade somewhere along the way. Maybe they make a little trade. I don't know. The Cubs need bullpen help. There's no doubt in my mind the Cubs need bullpen help. Okay, I know they got Brian Presley, but they're going to need more. Hodge has been good, but they're going to need some more. And I guarantee you right now, Jed Hoyer and those Cubby Bears are out there looking for bullpen help.
Yeah, that'll be something they go after at the deadline. Obviously, this year's going to be different. They're going to be in it. They're going to be in the race
100%.
Here for the division. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. They're about to hit the soft spot too. I think it's coming up. Remember how we went over? They've got like a really soft schedule coming up.
Yeah, and one thing they can do in that division that most teams can't is score runs. Like even with the bullpen, like it might be one of those things we might see a lot of over the run totals in the Cubs games when they hit that little soft spot, because a lot of those teams they're going to be facing don't score a lot of runs.
Yeah, so they've got to finish the gauntlet here with the Mets after they finish the one they're playing today, and then it's Marlins at home. They play the White Sox at home. They go to Miami for 3 more. Then they've got Cincinnati. Then they welcome in the Rockies, Reds, Nats. They've got a really long run here, AJ, where they face the bottom team.
Don't sleep on the Nats, though. The Nats.
I know they're a 500 team. That's not a bad team. I mean, towards the end there. Point is,
I feel you though. But
you heard some of the teams I said: Rockies, White Sox. Obviously, the Marlins. This seems like a worse time to catch the Marlins. I think they'll get worse as the year goes on from a pitching perspective. But still, AJ, this is where the Cubs could potentially, go into a 20-game stretch and go 15-5.
No, this is the soft spot. Everyone's questioning where they'd be at the end of April because they had the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, all those Padres, all those teams, and now they're in where they can really make some hay. And they've already made hay. They've already got a nice lead in their division, and they're playing great, and they're swinging the bat. So now it's time for them to really turn it on. And the Cubs, I picked them to win the division. I still think they will. I think they'll make moves when they need to, and I think they're in a really good spot. We've talked about it. We love the Tucker addition. Pete Crow Armstrong is becoming a superstar. So they're on the right trajectory.
Yeah, no, I'll cap it with this. So I was saying before how we were on Marquee because we're on that channel, which is the Cubs channel most days. It's funny. We waited until we sent them off to their pregame show or whatever they're doing so that AJ could talk a little bit nicely about the Cubbies.
I'm honest. The Cubs are good.
Yeah.
The Cubs are the best team in this division. They should win this division. And I said that going into the year. The Cubs, I'm honest. Like, it might pain me to say it, but I'll say it. The Cubs are the best team in this division and should win this division. And they should win it handily. Now, will they? I don't know, but I think they will.
All right, well, we've got Tommy Kahnle waiting for us in Denver, Colorado. So we're going to bring him in as soon as we swing back from the break. It is complicated enough to figure out what type of car you want, but when it comes to pricing and best time to buy and all of that information that you're looking for, Car Gurus is the only destination that you should be thinking about, Kratz. Why?
Because I don't have to question what the price is. It's going to be there. If the price changes and comes down to where I want it to be, bang, I get a notification. Car Gurus is giving it to me straight, and this is how I want to purchase a car. Not fast. I just want to know what's going on.
With over 4 million listings, Car Gurus has more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the U.S. So you can find the best deal, and it's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. So you can buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CARGURUS.com, cargurus.com. Here we go. A couple Yankee tweets to flow through. Brian Hook said that they're not ruling out Giancarlo Stanton being ready when he's eligible to come off the 60-day IL later this month. Aaron Boone said his rehab will look different than most since they don't need him to get ready to play the field. That's true. So you just get your ABs. And then Pedro Martinez tweeted about Aaron Judge. He said he's not the same Judge I saw last year. He thinks he's going opposite field. Oh, he is going opposite field more, shows in the average. He said even more dangerous now than he was when he had 60-plus homers. He has improved and matured and looks better. Of course, for Yankee fans, they want to see if that translates to a better overall postseason hitter too, which this approach, I think, will do that. Right, Cam? I mean, he choked last year in the playoffs. Like, he was bad. So this version of him would play better in the playoffs.
And I think when you look at it, I think his K rate is at like 16%, which is well below his career average, which that says a lot. He's letting the ball travel. He's trusting his power. He's trusting what he does really well, and he can use the whole field really well. We saw, when he had that run of 60, and in the last few years, we've talked so much about, how Aaron Judge has changed his approach and kind of got into the I'm going to pull the ball more and hit for more power. Well, he can still hit for that same power and be an elite and above average hitter if he uses the whole field, especially when you talk about 314. That was a thing that was, was kind of going around the clubhouse when I played for the Yankees. It was 314. They had T-shirts that said 314, especially for the righties. It just kind of, reiterated that approach that, hey, if I trust that backside approach, I can get rewarded. So I think Pedro was spot on. He's seen it for years. He's faced some of the best hitters in our game, and he didn't miss anything on Aaron Judge.
Hey, clap it up for 10-year Tommy. 10-year Tommy Kahnle. Congratulations. We bring as many guys as we can on the show when they hit the 10 years of service time. Tommy, congrats. Great to have you on. Did you think that you would end up on foul territory in Denver, Colorado, talking about 10 years of service time?
Thanks, guys. Did I think? How far back, though? When are we thinking here? Did I, when I was a rookie?
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Yeah, rookie. Yeah, Colorado times.
Probably not, but I never really thought about it. I mean, just looking to play baseball, and hopefully get a World Series still searching. But it's kind of where we're at. So.
Hey, my guy, congratulations! It is a celebration, and you gotta take a plane to get there. We won't say what, but just give me a number. How many did we go through on the way to Colorado? I just want to know. Just throw a number.
None.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm proud of you. My boy's growing up. Okay. Hey, with the Tigers this year, man. You've pretty much done what you did last year. Can you talk about though this new culture? You've been in a few different clubhouses. I had an experience to be around AJ Hinch, Chris Fetter covering the Tigers, playing for him as well. What sticks out and what's different, and talk about the atmosphere and the belief that team has, because a lot of people thought it was a fluke last year, and it's showing to not be that at all.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's definitely pretty similar to kind of the clubhouses I've been in the past, but it definitely feels different just in terms of there is a lot of young guys. Everybody's amazing dudes, how everybody kind of gets well together like a family, and it's really, I think they focus a lot more here, I would say, probably on just the littler things in baseball. Just they're out there taking ground balls every day. I know that we were doing it everywhere else, but it just seemed a little bit more instilled here, I want to say. It kind of just seems that they don't have to go out and afford Judge, Soto, those giant names, so they kind of work to what they know, and AJ does a tremendous job. He's unbelievable at it. Scott Harris too, identifying the players, and it's culture here is definitely different in terms of what you can do with what you have. and it's been great. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. They're all grinders, gritty. That's where they get the gritty tigs, I think is what the saying is here. I get it now. I see it. I've been here, for only 3 months now, and it's been awesome. Everybody's just ready to just get out there and play baseball and grind. It's truly, kind of like just the excitement to see, especially as I get older, to see that, the baseball is still the way it kind of used to be, but also at the same time it's changing and going a different way. But
Tommy, we only know big market teams, so I mean, this is your first foray into a small market team. Like White Sox, Rockies, all the big market teams that spend money on players all the time. So welcome to the small market for the first time. I want to know. You talked about being in another new clubhouse. The first time you shaved your body in front of everybody, was your teammates like, "What the hell is this guy doing? I didn't know this guy did." Like, what? Wait, what's happening here? Did I miss something?
oh yeah, they loved that part. They did. Oh yeah, I got a lot of weird looks when we first walked into the spring training clubhouse.
Oh, you do it so you break the ice in spring training. You don't
Oh
wait
yeah,
until the
oh yeah.
season starts.
No, right in spring. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
see, that's smart. That's a veteran move. You don't make people wait for it. You just get it out in the
yeah,
open and then you move on.
yeah. They weren't expecting that. I don't think.
Well, I mean, that's why I said it's smart that you got it out in the open. Now you're a 10-year vet. Now you can do whatever you want. If you want to walk around with shaving cream all over your body, you can do it.
Yeah, right. That's next. I got to break that one out. I don't know when. That usually comes when it's kind of you're hitting a little like a little skid. Get the boys rolling again. Pop out the old shaving cream.
Hey, I got one for you on this season. I mean, it's gone well so far. I know, your bucket list is topped by wanting a World Series ring. Cool, get it.
Mhm.
What about potentially an All-Star appearance? And I feel like sometimes relievers have to talk about it a little bit so that people are aware, right? Like, especially, if you're not racking up 40 saves or something like that. I just feel like high leverage guys don't necessarily get the attention that they deserve. And some guys are self-promoters. I'm not asking you to kind of wear, hey, vote for me for the All-Star game t-shirts all over the place, but I'm sure that's a goal, right? Is that somewhere on near the top of the list for the individual stuff?
Um, to be honest, I've never like really cared to be an all. I don't know if that sounds crazy to people. I don't know. I've never really cared to be an all-star. Um, maybe when I was a kid and stuff, like you think about that stuff, but I feel like once I got to like pro ball and then into the big leagues, it's kind of like I saw that winning was like that's the thing. That's what we got to do, and that's what's been instilled with me ever since I was in college and just trying to win. And I I mean, if it ever happened, cool. To be honest, I don't even know if I would go. I
You'd
really
go.
enjoy it.
First of all,
I
you
really.
would go. Okay, you would go and you throw 25 changeups in a row. Like, don't give me the
I,
I wouldn't go. That is crap. That is
I'm
complete crap that you wouldn't
I
go.
might be the
So
first
let's
one.
not even put that out there because that is a lie. That is a full-blown lie. If you made the All-Star team, you would be there. Your family would be there. You'd have your kids out on the field with their little Kahnle jerseys on. Your wife would have her cute outfit on. Your parents would be there. Trust me. If you make the All-Star team, you're going.
What? It's a. We're gonna see. I might be the
Yeah.
first
I
one
think,
ever in history if it ever happened.
yeah, right. You get voted in for
Don't
the
no,
first
Hey,
time, and he's like,
don't,
I
those,
don't know.
don't say that right now. Say you're
the 3
gonna
days at
go.
home.
So that'll give them more incentives to just not pick you. Don't do that. They'll just be like, nah, he said he's not gonna go anyway, so that's not even. Get the award first, Tommy, and then don't show. Let's go. Be smart about it. No, but all jokes aside, man, you talked about it earlier. You said 10 years wasn't something you thought about, and I think you're right. I think a lot of guys when we first come in, we're just excited about the opportunity. We just want to play ball, right? We want to win a championship. But now that you are there, what does it mean to you? And two, you got a pretty young team. You got a few guys with a little bit of money in there. Did they do anything special for you for making it thus far?
Uh, I mean, this means a lot. Obviously, there's not a lot of players. There it is. There's not a lot of players, that have come through this game that have been able to accomplish this. It's definitely something that I definitely cherish, and honor, the guys before me that have done this. It's truly an honor, and I'm ecstatic that it's happened. Obviously, I would love to keep going. We'll see how far I can go. I guess at this point, 10 is always like the goal, and then kind of just see how far you can go after that. But yeah, I mean, you can't thank enough people to have gotten me to this point. There's so many coaches, players that have helped me through the years. We all talk to each other, but obviously number one is the wife. She's the one that's got me this far. But yeah, I think just overall getting here is tremendous. It's truly an honor. I'm so grateful for it, and wouldn't want anything else. But on to the guys. I told them that basically all I wanted to do was just go back to my room and play video games. But
Hey, have you
so
found
the
your
rain out?
video
The
game
rain out
cubby?
was the rain out was perfect because I got to play video games basically all night, and I went to dinner with my agent and the head of marketing and one of the guys on the Rockies that we have, and we went to Capitol Grill. We got a steak, some lobster mac, and yeah, it's pretty good.
That's a good
Have you found
celebration.
a video? Have you found a video game cubby yet in Detroit? Tommy loves his
Uh,
video game, guys. He usually finds
oh
like a
yeah.
hole in the wall room or cubby hole that nobody knows about, and he's like, you open the door one day through the season, and Tommy's in there. He's like, "What's up, guys? How we doing?"
Those are the days. Yeah, I used to find like little back rooms and stuff. Nowadays, I just right in the locker. I just don't care. Yeah. I had they
Hey,
give
keep
me a
you
locker.
focused.
They give me a locker next to. I have two lockers in Detroit. You get the old guy. You get two lockers now. Everywhere I go, it's crazy.
So, do you have a video game setup and then your regular locker?
So like what my one locker is video games with all my jerseys that I brought.
Nice. Okay. So you kind of get to dress it up into a little man cave, basically, right? Like you have
More
the
more or less.
practical side and then the side for fun.
Kind of. I would say it's more mesh too, because I have like helmets and the regular one. My locker's a mess.
What? I would never expect you to have a messy locker.
I mean, maybe it's clean, but also looks like it. I don't know. It's just shit everywhere. Who knows?
Hey, tell me about the Tigers for a moment. So, is this the best team in the American League?
I mean, I don't want to label that we're the best, but also we're pretty good. So I don't know. I hate putting that label out there. That we're the best team, but all these teams are really good in the American League. So it's kind of like we just want to focus on us and just keep playing our baseball, and that's Tiger ball. It's great, gritty at bats. Relievers coming out and getting the dirty work done. Starters giving us six. Our guys are been unbelievable. These starters. So I mean, just the at bats that these guys take, it's incredible. I mean, like you were saying, there's not many of us that are, you know, 30 plus. And I remember I was talking to these guys last year when they went to the postseason. I didn't realize they had one guy I think that had postseason experience. So I thought that was that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. But yeah, that just shows you these guys are they're tough cookies, and I really love playing for this team. It's been awesome.
And I think the one guy was like Matt Vierling or somebody like that, where he was on the Phillies. I think it was
Yeah.
something like that with the trivia question. It's crazy. So, who stands out to you? Like, is there somebody that you've watched and been like, damn, this is going to be one of the better players in the league for a while? Or, just something interesting about learning all of these new faces? Because you really didn't know any of these guys when you got over there, right?
Yeah, no, I only knew obviously Glaber and Zach McKinstry. So it was big surprise. I didn't, to be honest, what's crazy is I didn't watch them a lot last year. So when we first played them, because I missed the first series in May, I believe it was, and then I came back for the Little League Classic series. But I remember I didn't really know anybody besides I think just Riley Green and Parker Meadows, and I was very unsure who even Kerry Carpenter was at the time, which is crazy to think about because that guy rakes. These guys, I would say definitely, almost top to bottom. They put together unbelievable at bats. I mean, obviously, Riley stands out big time. Torque, Carey, they got a good nucleus of young hitters here. They're impressive to watch. They really are.
Hey, you mentioned you're in Colorado. You came up with Colorado. You're Rule 5 by Colorado. Do you have good memories in Colorado from when you were there, even as a pitcher?
The uh, I guess you could say there are some good ones. There's some good ones, but
Okay.
we I don't know if you know this. We did square off once.
Yeah, I faced
When I,
you.
when
I
I was a
know.
Rocky. I forgot
I
about
know.
this.
I faced you. I think I grounded out off you.
You
I think I
did. You
grounded out
did.
of. Yeah.
I think it was because you'll like this story. I was looking at because all these guys, I don't know, they were talking about something. I was like, yeah, used to throw 100. They're like, what? You used to throw 100? They're looking at me like I'm a dinosaur. I'm just like, what is going on here? I was like, yeah, I topped out at 102. They all looked at me like I was sideways. So I was like, I tried to get like the video guy to go pull up old video of all fastballs. It did it from like 2014 for some reason. It pulls up and it comes across. There you are. I was like, oh, I got to use this dirt. You already knew. I had no idea.
Was it a ground ball? Was it a ground ball to you or the second baseman?
I think it was second. I think it was
Okay.
second.
Okay. All right. I remember facing you, and I remember you didn't throw changeup, so it's weird. Now
No, yeah,
yeah, you did used to throw hard.
I did. I
But
tried to show him.
that's good. That's good. You should show off. You got 10 years. You can do whatever you want now. You get a gold card. You got 10 years. You're good now, Tommy. But here's my question about Colorado. Like we've been talking about it. They're obviously not having a good year.
Yeah.
But the fans still show up there, right? And you were there 10 years ago, and it's kind of like the same thing. Like you guys weren't very good then. They bring in some guys. They try to get the farm system, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, we're good. We're not good, but we get $2.5 million every year. Our TV ratings are good. People like coming to the ballpark. We're happy with it. Is that just how you felt as a player there?
Yeah. It was just I. It's so frustrating there. Obviously, when you're a player for the Rockies, it's like you said, the crowds, the ballpark, everything, that's baseball is amazing there. The fans love it. It's really fun to play baseball there. Obviously, it's definitely a challenge for pitching. I mean, that's obviously number one. But it is it's just something's not right, and I don't know if it's ever going to flip the switch because obviously they did it in the past, in the '07 year, the '09. So I don't know. I don't know. It's it's definitely quite the conundrum, with obviously you talk to like former guys that were there and guys that are there now. It seems like nothing's changed, essentially.
What would be your advice for a potential young Tommy Kahnle out there on the Rockies who, has to come up into that ballpark really and survive?
Yeah. You're going to deal with failure a lot. Definitely there. That's for sure. I think a lot of it too is maybe kids aren't dealing with failure enough before they get to the big leagues. So when it does happen, it kind of like spirals. So I don't know, but you just gotta kind of learn to deal with failure. And once you can handle that, I feel like you just gotta stick your nose down and just do the work. And if sometimes results don't happen, but I feel like if you're doing something right, results will eventually come your way.
Tommy, we're going to finish on a fun note here. So we'll do one fan question. Sean is in the chat. He's one of our super Tiger fans.
All right.
And he wants you to recall a story about flooding your apartment, which I actually don't think we've talked about. We've probably had you on 10 times or something. What do you got?
Yeah, that happened. We had, it was big airsoft guns. This is way back in the day. I was in low A. Airsoft guns were a thing. Obviously, always have been when you're young and you're just an idiot. I was like looking at this light we had in our apartment, and I was like, I'm going to shoot the light. Missed it completely. Hit the mercury stick. Boom. The water just starts. And about, I don't know how many gallons came out of the ceiling. And the fire department came and, flooded the entire apartment.
Or you thought you were going to get released. 100% you're going, I'm getting released. I'm getting released.
Not even the first. I was just like, how much is it going to cost?
I was going to say, you're more worried about an A-ball. Can I afford the bill to cover what the damage?
Yeah.
I was more worried about that. I was like, oh, no.
What happened?
Was
Did you
it?
have to pay for a new floor? Did it go down to the floor below you? What happened?
So we were the bottom floor. This is in Charleston, South Carolina. So bottom floor, luckily. So all the water, I mean, the place was soaked. So they had to have like those professional, I don't know what they are, to be honest.
The shock vacuum.
The people that come in and get all the water out of the, I don't know. It was pretty crazy. But I remember first instinct was like, I was like, I sprinted in my room, grabbed all my like PS3, everything. I was like, oh my God, get out of here.
Why didn't you just open the door and let the water go outside?
I know my three roommates just pieced it. They just said, out. And then my one buddy was like, yeah, you got to get up there and put like something to stop the water. After I got all my stuff out, I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go back in. I tried to do it. I'm just getting sucked. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you can't do that, you idiot. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Didn't you have like a sliding glass door you could open and let the water go outside or something?
It just like piled up. I don't even know how it piled up like that. I've never seen that before. We left the front door open. That was the most water I've ever seen. Do not hit anytime you ever see one of those mercury sticks, don't hit one.
By the way, does your wife know that your first thing you're grabbing is not like her and the babies? It's literally your PS3 over her. You're like, sorry, honey, I gotta save the video games.
Oh,
she doesn't probably do that.
You got two hands, right? So
I had PS3 right here, laptop or whatever else I had. But
laptop for video games, console for video games, and then baby can walk now, right?
Oh yeah, they both can walk. I mean, I'll just pick up the baby.
Yeah,
my
babe, you got the kids.
Out.
AJ, consoles can't walk, so
I know. Like most people would think, like I'm gonna grab my passport and important documents. Tommy's like, screw that! I need this PS5 with Grand Theft Auto 6 on it. It's gonna cost $700.
No, yeah.
Never know if there's a shortage out there. Yeah, you don't want to get caught. Well, that was worth it. That was actually a great way to finish. I'm glad that story was brought up. We had not heard that one before, so it's pretty epic. Well, that really brings us full circle.
You were a good shot.
Yeah, no, not a good shot. Not a good shot. It's like one of those like bubbles too that like put up over the light. I was like, oh, this is easy. There's a mercury stick right behind it. Wham.
Well, why would you shoot the light? Why wouldn't you? What happens if you hit the light and the glass shatters?
Nah, I didn't. That wasn't. I was 22.
First thing you said, AJ. First thing you said, I was young and dumb.
Yeah, it's fine. I get that. We all do dumb things, but I don't know about shooting a glass light on the ceiling and hoping it falls on my head would be a good idea.
I mean, I get it, young baseball players with a little extra time. I mean, I'll tell the story during the break, but anyway, Tommy, this was great. This was great. Really enjoyed the story at the finish line. Brought us really full circle because you did that in low A, and look at you now. 10 years in the bigs. You've played with the Dodgers and the Yankees. You're in Colorado, back in the old stomping grounds with a good Tigers team. So thanks for joining us, dude. Great to catch up. Congrats.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. It's always great being on here. I love it.
Same here. We love it. All right. Talk soon. That's Tommy Kahnle. We'll be right back. If you want to be bougie and have your own personal shopper, Hungry Root is actually the spot, and you can do it at an affordable price.
Yeah, without a doubt. And especially with my busy schedule with kids on the run all the time, baseball, gymnastics, I need a source that's going to get me going and my kids as well. So I'll pop in an easy chicken parm or grilled chicken, put it in a nice container, get it to go, and the kids are excited, and they're full, and they're nutritional, and it's ready to rock for their games.
There will be snacks that you have never heard of that you will immediately fall in love with. They will pick them out for you if you want. Obviously, you can go on there. You pick all of your preferences. Hungry Root gets the job done. Okay, FT fam? We love Hungry Root. Take advantage of this exclusive offer for a limited time. 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life at hungryroot.com/FT. That's code FT. hungryroot.com/FT. Code FT for 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. The code is simple. It's 2 letters, FT. All right, we're back. I was just thinking about Tommy at 22. And for example, AJ lived in Cape Cod for a couple seasons. I was broadcasting games up there. And, you'd live with a bunch of dudes. And 1 year we lived in a house. They didn't even have a host of family for us. They just had a house. So obviously it becomes a frat house. And, you think you're young and dumb and you've got your interests. But then every night I'd come home. And for example, it's like one night, a few of them, and most of them made the big leagues, are like, hey, we're making homemade tasers and we're going to tase ourselves. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? Like, I'm like, oh, I'm young and dumb, but I'm not that kind of young and dumb, right? Like, to me, there were different categories. I'm sure you came across some people where you're like, that's your young and dumb?
Listen, I'm just happy there wasn't cell phones and all that when I was in low A ball and high A ball and even like double and triple A at times. Because you're just bored. You were just bored. There wasn't the video games you had. You just did stuff, and it wasn't all bad. It was fun. We thought it was a good idea at the time, but, we all do stupid things. It's called part of growing up, being a boy, I think. I feel like a boy does more usually dumb stuff than a girl does because we just think we can get away with anything. We think we're superhuman, and listen, we did a lot of dumb stuff, but it's fine. Nobody got hurt from any of it. We didn't, cause anything like any trouble, police trouble, but we didn't, I never shot out a mercury stick and had a sprinkler on my head either, though. But we did a lot of dumb stuff. I'll admit it. We did a lot of dumb stuff.
The brain takes time to develop, especially for men.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
I'm tired of the wishy-washy fans, the haters out here, okay? I'm going to trigger somebody today, okay? I'm going to trigger somebody because I'm tired of the fans or the haters that are sitting around waiting on the Tigers to fail, right? Well, watch, Ernest, I'll tell you, they're going to fail. Watch. You're that I told you so person. Like, you're waiting around so you could be like, I told you so. Look, I told you they were going to struggle. Look, let's see if they do that in July. Well, then they do it in July. Then you're going to say, well, what about August? Like, what do you want? Like, what baseball are you watching that you're not seeing what we're seeing? This is not a fluke. These guys are a solid baseball team.
Preach, Austin Jackson, part of Tiger territory. So we're going to highlight some of our shows, part of the FT network. So that's one. Austin talking to Cody Stavenhagen and Kieran Steckley. And I love that, Cam. I mean, Austin's kind of new to the broadcast game, and he's finding his voice and also calling out the trolls, right? If you're a Tiger fan right now,
absolutely,
you shouldn't be complaining much.
And let's be honest, that's not the usual nature of a Tigers fan, right? The Tigers fan, the real Tiger fan is going to be through the team, through the thick and the thin. And right now, like Austin said, what we're seeing isn't a fluke. I think the little taste of last year, how they finished the second half, the taste of the playoffs being a game or pitch or just, one moment away from going as far as they've been in years. And now they went out and brought back Flaherty, brought back some veteran pieces. The bullpen, they figured that blueprint out the past few seasons. They have a starting 5 rotation that I wouldn't trade for anybody right now, arguably in the game right now, if you talk about how they've been throwing. And then you have good problems like Matt Vierling coming back, Meadows coming back. If you can get anything from Alex Cobb when he gets back. And then you have Javi Baez, right? Javi Baez playing good baseball is contagious for people around him, right? He's out in the center field. He's playing loose. What's happening is not a fluke. It's real, and especially when you look at what they have to compare themselves against in that division. Like you said, it's a good division, but I think right now that's the team to beat. And I love Austin triggering some people in Detroit. Let's go. Like, don't give me that wishy-washy fan base stuff. Believe in these boys. They're here to play.
Good for him. Good for him. He played there long enough. He knows that fan base. So he knows, and good for him. Yeah.
Mhm.
Get behind these guys or don't go back and forth. Be a fan or don't be a fan. That's it. I like what he said.
Straight up.
All right, next up, we got a couple more for That's What He Said. Let's dive back into the Red Sox first base situation. I don't think anybody believes that the current status is going to be the plan for the rest of the year. But Gabrielle Starr, friend of the show, tweets that Cora was asked about a conversation on first base with Rafael Devers in the last couple days, and the answer was just a simple no. And they said, does he plan to? And the answer again was no. AJ, do you think that there's beef between Alex and Rafi, or he's just keeping it simple and being like, nah, he's just DHing? Or do you think that there's residual effects from what happened a couple months ago in spring training?
He's being consistent. I'll give him that. I don't know why they're being so hardcore about this. They just must really hate Rafi Devers in the field. I don't understand why they're being so hardcore about this. If you can put Rafi Devers at first base and it makes your team better, isn't that what this is all about? So if you look at your roster and you look at what you have in the minor leagues, you say, well, Rafi Devers at first base makes us a better team. Shouldn't you at least say, we'll think about it? Right now it's a no, but maybe down the line we might change something. I don't think there's a beef, but I think that it's interesting the way they just keep saying a hard no. So does this mean Rafi Devers is DH for the rest of his career? Because if you're going to go a whole year and you lose your first baseman for the year and you have a guy that could probably do it, wouldn't you think that'd be the easy move? But they keep just saying a hard no. So I don't know. It's a weird situation in Boston because they're just so adamant about it. There's not even a like, we'll see. It's like, nope.
I don't really have options either. It is weird.
That's the point. That's kind of my point. Like, I mean, this, no offense to Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro, but I mean, I'd rather if I could put Rafi Devers at first, and then I can use my DH, whoever that might be, Yoshida or whoever else I could find. Maybe a young kid, Meyer Anthony, can DH and bring him up and let him play DH and get some at bats in the field here and there. Like that would. If that makes the team better, then wasn't that the whole point to when they said, Rafi, you're the DH, it makes our team better? Well, if Rafi playing first makes the team better, wouldn't it be the same argument?
Yeah, I'm with AJ. And I think another question I kind of think about is I really wish we got more insight on how Rafi Devers really feels, right? Because we're making a lot about this first base situation. And as you don't hear much from him, it kind of makes you wonder, is he giving static about it? And it's like, if that's the situation, not saying he is, again, I've said it before, sometimes you just got to put your big boy britches on, right? You're getting paid a lot of money. And maybe sometimes in these situations, you don't get your way, right? But you got to swallow your pride and go out there and do what's best for the team, right? So, when we have these conversations, it kind of makes me wonder, is he kind of being pouty about the situation, right? Because at the end of the day, most guys, they'll tell you, put me anywhere as long as I'm in the lineup, as long as I'm playing. But when you give a guy money, sometimes the sense of entitlement, comes along with that. And you think, well, you give me all this money, I'm your guy, then you should do whatever I want. And it's just like, it doesn't seem like that's the case, right? The Boston Red Sox saying, hey, Alex Bregman was the best for us defensively. We like him at third base. And right now, DH would be the best for you, possibly first base. So it makes me question how much kickback he's really giving behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AJ.
But now though, I mean, if he wanted to play third, I'm sure he'd be open to playing first, right? I mean, I get it. I get you do what's ever best for the team, but if it's best for the team and they need me to play first, that's what I'm saying. Like, if the Red Sox look at this, that's why I can't believe it's just been like a no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, I see what you
right.
I see
Like
what
no,
you're saying.
no.
Yeah.
Like
no.
Like to me, it should be like, well, maybe if it makes the team better, we should try it.
Absolutely.
Instead of they're like,
no. What you're saying is like, no, he's horrible. We don't want him anywhere on the field. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's almost like they're just like, bro, we don't want him to touch the dirt unless it's in the box or running the bases. Like, you're right. I feel you. Like, that's all. That might be the bigger question. And like they won't just say it. Like he's a horrible defender. We there. Like you're
That's pretty
right.
much what
I
they
get
did.
it.
That's pretty. And listen, I was all for the Bregman signing. It helped. He's been their best hitter, right? He's a great third baseman. But they clearly didn't talk to Devers before they did it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation, right? But that goes back to my point, though. If you can put Rafi Devers at first base and it makes your whole 26-man roster better, you have to at least think about it instead of just saying no.
Right.
It's just no. That's kind of my point. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on there.
How
Alex
bad
Cora
could he?
won a World Series. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like how I feel you when you break it down like that. It's like, yeah, like how bad could he be at first? Like, you know what I mean? Like we've seen guys go out of there, play out of position. I mean, we can name them. I mean, Luis Ariz, they talk about him. They put him at first so you can keep his bat in the lineup. It's like I'm with you. I do. You're right, AJ. Like, how bad could he be at first? Like, how does that not make your team a little bit better? And then hey, you kill two birds with one stone. Now he's on his feet. Now he's engaged, and you don't have to worry about the whole DHing and I'm not engaged and. Now you're engaged. You're playing defense. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right on that.
I mean, I got one for you. It's going to take a month and a half or so, but they will fall out at some point. Nate Lowe from the Nationals, somebody like that who's on a 1-year contract, who's on a team that's not going to be playoff bound. He's hitting pretty well, can play a nice first base. They'll do something like that. That's probably what they have in their head. I mean, there's no one else. There's no one in free agency right now. I mean, I would be surprised if they sign Rizzo. I don't think that's
Rizzo's. Let's stop with the Rizzo. Rizzo's not an option.
I know. Well, some fans
Rizzo
brought up an even better idea for you, AJ. Some fans in the chat were asking about Grandal. I'm going to go a hard no on that one too.
Grandal is what, catcher? Their catchers are doing
like,
good.
Oh, he could play. They're like, he could play first. I'm like, no.
No, come on. Boston fans, you're better than that. Come on,
Yeah, I mean,
you're better than that, Boston
we've
fans.
seen. I mean, it's like you got the Josh Bells out there, but it's like, is that I mean, that's it's
Low.
like you said,
I'd take Low over Bell.
100%.
Yeah, and I mean, would the Marlins trade Matt Mervis right now? Maybe, but I think you're going to get some options in 6 weeks or so. I know if you look back to a day or two ago, we talked about Roman Anthony, and I guess at least for now, that's not in the plans. Again, that's something that I would do. But if they're really a hard no on changing up development with guys like that and wanting to leave him in the outfield, then you're going to be able to find somebody at the trade deadline. The thing is, the trade deadline's far away. Even if this happens in early July, I mean, we're in early May. It's May 7th. They could cost you.
Exactly. That's the problem. Everyone was like, oh, let's just wait. Let's just hold off. But you could fall too far behind, and then what?
And then you might miss the playoffs by a game and go, damn, guess we should have figured out first base a little bit quicker. That happens. Yep. So keep it in mind.
Listen, we talk about how long the season is, but it gets late really fast in the big leagues.
It really does. Hey, ask the Texas Rangers. We're going to go to them next. I mean, they won the World Series. They got the classic hangover. They're trying to kick the hangover now with the offense. We'll talk to Evan Grant, who leads FT in appearances, coming up next. FT fam, we're excited to introduce you to Rowback with the subtle dog logo and 2 stripes on the back of every product. Kratz, what are you rocking for us?
I'm rocking the polo, which never feel like a t-shirt until now. Out on the course, I'm going to stay cool, and as much as I sweat, I won't be wet.
Use the code FOUL on rowback.com for a generous 20% off your first purchase. That's FOUL on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all shirts, hoodies, polos, and more with the code FOUL.
But like, there was no one like the great Lou Pinella.
Well, I have to ask, he pulled his hamstring once, getting into an argument with Umpire? What's that story?
Yes. He pulled the first base up out of the ground and tried to sling it, and he pulled his hamstring. he had the long, slow walk back to the dugout. He's like, Matt, I gotta go. I think I gotta pull my hamstring. I'm already kicked out. The trainer's gotta go. Somebody's gotta help me out here. It's just so crazy, man. He pulled his hamstring, bro. It's so stupid. He would do some of the craziest thing, the kicking dirt, all that kind of stuff like that. Like DeLue put on the show when he got kicked out of the game because he felt like, I got to go out here and stand up for my players. And you knew, and if it was building, we lost a couple games or the game wasn't going good, Lou was going to give him hell. And don't let him be in Yankee Stadium in New York. Oh, he already came in. He already came in with an edge every time we went to Yankee Stadium. Oh, don't let something happen in Yankee Stadium. I seen Lou get kicked out of game. I don't know if it was on maybe like pitches or something like that or whatever it was, like off the plate or whatever. I've seen Lou get kicked out of a Saturday day game, and we take the bus back, and him getting dropped off at a local bar in New York City. Dude, this guy was amazing, dude. This guy was unbelievable.
That's good storytelling right there from Mike Cameron, along with Kyle Glazer, who's the host of Friar Territory. Cameron's on once a week. Heath Bell is on once a week as well. So check that one out if you want your Padres coverage and a little bit more, of course, as they were getting into some Lou Pinella stories. That's good stuff right there. We don't have as many of those classic managers. The managers nowadays are a little more buttoned up. But Friar Territory, wherever you get your pods. Coming up next, Evan Grant. We're talking Rangers and all of the moves made in the past week for them to try and spark the offense. Dallas Morning News beat writer Evan Grant with us right now, talking Rangers ball, leading FT in writer appearances. Evan, great to have you on. I mean, this is good timing. Lots and lots of action from this team right now. So does Brett Boone just come in, say, hey, I'm hitting coach, 6 runs, 14 hits, and go, job well done, 1-0, I finally got the offense fixed, and then walk out like George Costanza?
This is his best appearance by far. This is his best appearance by far. By far. That's just what happens. This is what happens.
Get him, AJ.
This is what happens when he doesn't go on the road. He didn't go on the road. He's sitting in his house. He's not even in Boston. How? He don't even know what's going on. He don't even know. He's not even there. This is what's wrong with reporters these days. He's going to tell us some story. Him and John Blake are doing Instagram videos. Evan, get on, boots on the ground. Let's go, Evan.
Can you hear me now?
Good or bad, depending on who you are.
AJ would say unfortunately, but I'm good. I'm glad to see you, Evan. AJ would say unfortunately.
I be here with you guys, except for AJ, who didn't offer to buy me any food in San Francisco, but that's all right. Listen, it's been a week here.
You weren't there either. Evan, you weren't there either. It's like Boston. You weren't there. So how do you even know if I was there? I might have done it. I might not even have been there.
I saw you in the clubhouse, and I said, AJ, is this the first time you've ever done a game with 2 teams that got rid of you? And you said, no, I've done plenty of those games before.
True. That is true.
Good line.
That's how memorable you are, Evan. To me, at least.
We want to talk about this Rangers offense a little bit?
Yeah, Boone specifically. I want to start there. We'll do the rest. But how shocked were you when you saw that he was going to be the guy to try and lead the offense back here?
Yeah, when they decided they were going to change off of Donnie Ecker, the first thing I started looking for was obviously major league hitting coaches with experience who had big league playing experience, because I thought one thing that the Rangers were going to want was an experienced big league voice in the clubhouse. And I looked up some guys that had connections with either Bruce Bochy or Chris Young, and there's a lot of them. But Brett Boone didn't cross my mind just because Brett has never coached. That said, when you look at all the boxes that I think the Rangers wanted to check here, an experienced major league player, a guy who brings a little bit of an edge, a guy who does have some kind of connection to Bochy and to Chris. Brett checks all of those, and he happened to have a really happenstance kind of meeting at a UCLA baseball game with Michael Young over the weekend, and they were just talking baseball and weren't doing a job interview or anything like that. But Brett said, hey, make sure that Boch and CY know that I'm thinking about them, and that, good luck to you guys the rest of the way. Michael gave the greetings, and it certainly got Chris Young's mind moving. And next thing you know, 24 hours later, they've got Brett Boone on staff.
Hey, I want to talk about you go back to the World Series, and I'm looking at the roster. Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter was a huge spark. Robbie Grossman had a little bit of edge, veteran guy. Austin Hedges, we know what type of clubhouse guy he is. Nathaniel Lowe. The last couple of years, you could talk about injuries, you can talk about lack of this and that, but when I watch even right now, I see a lack of fire. And I when I watch this team, it's like we know Corey Seager is a naturally laid back guy. Marcus Semien kind of similar as well. You probably gonna have a little bit of the language transbarrier when you talk about Adolis. Like I just wonder, sometimes it isn't the performance, but who's the guy? Who's the heartbeat? Like what, have they lost that fire in your eyes?
Hey, Cam, I think you raise a great point, right? I think when a team is winning and scoring runs and they're all business like the Rangers were in 2023, that's the compliment. Hey, this team is all business. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. When you're not scoring runs and you don't see that kind of emotional flair, it does raise that question. Do they lack fire? Do they lack edge? And I do think internally the Rangers thought that this is a team, not that it's a dull team in any way, not that it's not dedicated or that it doesn't try hard, but I do think that they felt like there was a little bit of edge missing in the clubhouse. Some of that was because some of the younger players that have that ability to bring edge don't have a ton of experience yet. Some of that is because guys who do have the ability to bring the edge on the field, like Garcia, are struggling. And so I think in Brett Boone, they get a guy. Look, we all know who Brett Boone is. And I think one thing that Brett said yesterday in his introduction to the team, that, look, I'm in listen mode right now, which is not my forte. Brett's a cocky guy. He has a lot of opinions. He's got opinions that he shared on his podcast. But I think it's really important for him to come in, be willing to listen to these guys, talk baseball with them. I think he and Jock Peterson immediately bonded. And I think that element of it really helps inside the clubhouse. And eventually, I think Brett's going to be the guy. If somebody needs to challenge a hitter, I think Brett's going to be more than willing to do that when need be. But right now, it's important to gain these guys' trust. You get immediate cachet with your experience, but you've also got to get the trust that these guys feel like, okay, this new guy, we don't know him very well, but we trust him.
All right, Evan, I'll ask this. How many of these guys know who Brett Boone is?
It's a good question, AJ. Because I'm not in Boston, so I didn't ask these guys if they knew who Brett Boone was.
That's a great question. Great point, Evan. That's why you got to get there. Boots on the ground,
look,
Evan.
I'll be in Detroit, AJ. I'm a warrior, man. I'll be in Detroit. I think these guys know who Brett is. Obviously none of them played against Brett Boone, but they know what his reputation was, and some of them have listened to the podcast. And you walk in and you're a 3-time All-Star, a 2-time Silver Slugger, a 2-time top 10 finisher in MVP voting, and people will look at your baseball reference page. They'll look it up. They'll know who Brett Boone is if they didn't know who he was.
Okay, that's fair. Now, let me ask you this question. Is this a switch? Is this a shift in thinking from teams? We've seen it, Chris Young, Craig Breslow, Buster Posey, players getting more active roles. Remember, because for the last about 7, 8, 9 years, we've gone away from players and we're like, oh, analytics. And now it's kind of shifting a little bit back to where, hey, we not only do we need the analytics, but we need somebody that actually stood in the box or on the mound and can relate the analytics to players, because I can get a guy that graduated college to give me numbers, but they can't tell me how to use them as a player. And if I'm a player, I'm going, man, I really need somebody that can translate this for me.
Yeah, and I think I'm really going to regret my saying this, AJ, but you pretty much nailed it there. I think that you've got to have a balance. The analytics are more advanced than ever before. The art of hitting is more difficult than it has ever been before. Pitchers control all the action, and with pitch design and more spin and more velocity, they've got a bigger edge than they've ever had. And so the best thing that a hitter can do going to the plate is have as few thoughts as possible. And I do think that sometimes with analytics, and this is not to say this is not a criticism of Donnie Ecker individually or anybody on the Rangers staff, but I do think that sometimes, when you've got such a heavy approach on analytics, some of the other things get a little bit either overlooked, or you put too many thoughts in your guy's head going to the plate. And I think that with Brett coming in here, you've got two guys. They've kept the majority of the hitting staff together. Justin Veely, who is a big biomechanics guy and a big analytics guy, and Seth Connor, who is similar. They've kept the staff together pretty much, but I think they felt like they needed a little bit of a countermeasure of a guy who had big league experience, who has lived through those situations, and who could speak kind of at a level that hitters need to understand in game. Let me just say this about the Rangers, right? You look at the top of the organization, Chris Young, 14 years in the big leagues as a pitcher. He lived everything that a pitcher could do. He's a very smart guy. He's an Ivy League graduate. He is big into analytics, but he's also lived the life of a pro baseball player. You look at Mike Maddox, who heads up the pitching staff, and you've got a guy in Dave Bush that's very big on pitch design and who also pitched in the big leagues. And you've got a guy in Jordan Teagues who worked with their young pitchers. And there's a good mesh of different philosophies there. And I think sometimes in this game, we tend to go too hard to one direction. And then, of course, the pendulum swings back the other way. And I think what we're seeing with the Rangers move is that they feel like they've got really good information, but they also need some real life experience and a little bit more edge. And if you're going to ask players to have edge, who better to do it than somebody who has actually been in the big leagues and played with an edge?
Brett Boone played with an edge? No way. I don't remember that. I don't remember who he was, Devin. I barely played against him. Two things. One,
podcast wars here.
I've been on his podcast. I've done his podcast. It was like a 2-hour interview. It was unbelievable. Listen, I've known Boone. I've known Brett for 20 plus years. So I love Brett. I saw him this year in San Diego. He's awesome. He's one of my favorite people. He makes me laugh every time I see him. So I love Brett. Also, you said this, and I just want to go with this before I get into my next part on this. Just because you go to an Ivy League school, Evan, it doesn't make you smart. Okay, I'm just going to say that. You said that. It doesn't make you smart. It's cool. You got a degree. Awesome. I don't. But all right, now I'm right. You're speechless. That's how I know I'm right.
For you today, and I'm not bringing it in.
National champions. What can I say? Basketball school. Swish. All right. So you mentioned something though about the hitting side and Brett Boone and how it's kind of switched over. Here's my question, and I ask people this all the time. What's more important? When you get to the major leagues, you usually have pretty good mechanics with your swing, right? And I think Cam would agree with me on this. Is it more important to have a guy talk to you about approach, meaning this guy throws these pitches, how are we going to combat it? Or is it better to have a guy that can tell you where to hold your hands? Because to me, like I could figure this stuff out, where to go with my hands. I needed a guy that we could talk about approach and, hey, this is the pitch I need to look for, and this is how I can hit this pitch with my swing. To me, that was a more important factor. I think Cam would agree, but I don't know.
Absolutely.
Here's the one thing I would say to both you guys on that, and that is, look, and I don't want to make anybody feel like they're old, but you look at this generation of players, and they have spent so much time with individual hitting coaches and gurus, and that they look to those guys often for answers on everything. So I do think that it's become kind of a necessary part of the game in that that's the way that a younger player now kind of communicates. But I also think what's gotten negated is, and look, Brett's a great example of this. Who was Brett's mentor as a hitter in a lot of ways? Edgar Martinez. Edgar was a great hitter. And Edgar was also an unselfish hitter who knew if a runner needed to be moved, he was going to move a runner. It didn't mean he was going to give himself up, but he was going to do what he needed to do in that at-bat to make sure that a runner at least moved, that he was going to optimize the ability to keep the run-scoring opportunity in place. And I think that's something that the Rangers have not done very well the last 2 years, is that they have spent a lot of time trying to build a slugging team. And look, Bruce Bochy and Chris Young talked about slugging day in and day out in spring training. And I think the real world application is sometimes you're going to have to, when your sluggers go in a slump, if they're not really disciplined hitters at the plate, you're going to have to find other ways to score runs. And when the game asks you, Ron Washington used to say this all the time. He probably said it to you, AJ. When the game asks you to do something, you do it. And I think that's a big part of what the Rangers hope Brett Boone's messaging can get across to these players.
Yeah, but haven't we lost that? Haven't we lost that? I'll ask Cam
Yes.
too. I'll bring Cam in on this.
Yes.
Haven't we lost that though? Because my kid's in high school, okay? My son's in high school, and I have that conversation with him all the time. Senior in high school. You play to the scoreboard. The scoreboard tells you what your at-bat needs to be. I need to get on base. I need to try to drive the guy in. I need to get the guy from second to third with no outs, get him to third with one out so the guy behind me can drive him in, right? But with the analytics, and again, I believe in analytics. I do. I don't want people to think I don't believe in analytics. But what I'm saying is there's a time and a place to where, you know what? Paul Konerko is one of the best hitters I ever played with. And he had at-bats where he totally gave himself up. Guy on second, no outs, late in the game. And you could see it. He just hit a weak ground ball to second. The guy run to third. Next guy drove him in. We win the game by a run. He would do it, right? But he also hit 400-plus homers and was one of the best hitters I ever seen. But there's a time and a place. We had this conversation earlier, Evan. Joey Votto and Juan Soto, we're talking about how many walks they have, right? There's a time for those guys. There's a runner on third and one out. I want Juan Soto's bat-to-ball skills to put the bat on the ball and drive the guy in, right? Instead of being like, oh, it's a half-inch outside. I can't swing at that because I won't walk, but I'll make an out because I hit a ground ball to second and drive the run in. To me, there has to be a combination of the analytics and the hitting, and that's why I'm for the shift of former players coming in and explaining this.
And I don't want to cut Evan off, but I want to add on to that point, AJ, because you're absolutely right. And what's happened is when we say analytics, guys like myself, guys like AJ, analytics is only information. For all the people out there who hear the words analytics and they think it's like some intricate being or thing, it's just information. And what AJ is saying is you can have your hands here or your hands there, or your foot here, or your foot there. But at the end of the day, you have to have a plan. The way you set up isn't going to get you a hit if you don't have a great plan, if you don't know what you do well, if you can't move the ball, right? What I love about what AJ said is me and AJ, we are both in hard places now, raising young men who love the game, and we get caught up in a hard place where we want to teach them, you learn how to hit, you'll slug later, right? Become a good hitter first, where now it's backwards. It's slug, 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 slug. So you have this generation, and even now this window of younger guys, even guys in the game, that they got told it was okay to swing and miss. And it's good until your team starts losing, until you can't manufacture runs, until you don't know. Then all of a sudden it's a problem. So, for me, I think this move to bring Boone in was, like you said, Evan, let's go get some guy who's done it, who has experience, who can maybe give us a better approach because, hey, I can guarantee you they didn't win that World Series solely off of analytic information. It was guys going out there competing, having a team approach. I'm going to be a bastard in the box. I'm going to do whatever I can to have a long quality at bat, to try to get into the bullpen, to try to make this really tough throughout a series. And those are the things that are being lost in the game. You know what I mean? So I love what both of you guys are saying, and that's why I continue to say I love what the Rangers are doing, and I love guys like Chris Young, the Buster Posies, who are now getting these opportunities, who have been in these moments in these players' shoes and really knows that it's bigger than just bat speed and launch angle and all this other crap. That doesn't win you baseball games. So I love what they're doing.
And Cameron, I got to agree with both you guys on this. And the way it was has been best explained to me is look at the greater environment now, right? Look at YouTube or look at social media, and how many guys are out there touting swing, 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 swing. And it's all about individual swings. It's about getting off your best swing. Yeah, that's great. But what I've seen from the Rangers, really going back almost a decade now, is I've seen guys' swings be very much on one plane. And they can't adjust the way it feels to me. And I don't want to make myself sound like, old crotchety guy, but it feels like players' swings have not been quite as adjustable or flexible to the moment as they once were. And I think that's the kind of thing we're talking about here is analytics and metrics and process stats, they are all important tools. But you also have to be self-aware. And there is not as much attention spent on self-awareness and discipline, as that's not considered a tool as raw power is considered a tool.
Evan, let me ask you this. And Cam, can we bring in Cam again on this too? Because I know Cam coaches young kids and he has a team. Here's my thing, Cam. Again, I have a senior in high school. We have kids on our team that could be drafted, possibly signed. We have scouts at every single game. And I know some of them, and I talk to some of them. The number one thing that a lot of the scouts want to see out of high school hitters is what you just said, Evan, adjustability. Like not a one-plane swing, right? The guys who get drafted high can use their hands and make an adjustment to where, like, oh, I'm a little bit fooled. Oh, I can flip the ball here, or I can foul it off and live to fight another pitch. So to me, what you're talking about is one of the most important things.
Is that what they want to see, though? I mean, my question, the things that I keep hearing about, in scouting reports that I read are all about raw tools, his hit tool or his raw power tool. And I do think that it is important that guys get a better grasp of both discipline, approach at the plate, and situational awareness.
Agreed. You got to be able to do all of it. Absolutely. But the guys, absolutely. I know this. The guys, listen, you can have raw power, but you can be pitched to, right? But if you have adjustability, if you have both, then you're a stud, right? But if you have adjustability, you can get hits. You can figure out a way to get hits, right? But if you're a one-plane guy, you're so pitchable. You can go on BP and hit 1,000,000 home runs because the BP pitcher's like, here it is, 50 miles an hour, right down the middle. Whack, 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 right? But then in the game, they don't throw like that. So you have to be able to use your hands. Yep. So anyways, sorry, Scott.
You're right. No, and AJ, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Scott. I'm good. We can talk about it,
No, you're good. This was good.
But you guys are right. It's awesome.
This was good. I want to just finish with this, just player personnel. I got two, so we can double up here on our way out, Evan. One is the status of Evan Carter in terms of his development and trying to get him back to any slice of what he was when he was insanely good in his rookie little run in 2023. And if he's able to hit breaking balls consistently, stuff like that. And then part two, is Leody Taveras going to burn the Rangers in some important divisional games?
It's entirely possible. I mean, that's the risk that when you say, we're going to move on from somebody, that's the risk you take. But let me start with Leody and then move over to Evan. On Leody Taveras, he has had 1,800 plus plate appearances for the Rangers over the last 5 years. He had a spike in 2023, but largely, he has been what he has been. And I think that you can bet that Leody is going to have a good year at some point in time, a good start to finish year. But if you're the Rangers, you can't say you haven't given him a fair opportunity. And with the fact that Evan Carter does now appear ready to kind of establish himself as a big league player, and the idea that Alejandro Osuna has really kind of zipped up the Rangers prospect chart as a guy that everybody I've talked to inside the organization and outside loves. Why? Because he plays hard and because he has situational awareness to go with his skills. I think that the Rangers made that move. They tried to get something in return for Taveras, and they couldn't. They know they're in a little bit of a financial bind where the luxury threshold is concerned, and by getting somebody to take him off their hands, that saves them about $3 million going forward, which gives them a little bit more wiggle room come the trade deadline. Could he burn them in a divisional game? Absolutely. But I will say this. I don't see Leody going in and playing center field in Seattle. There's a pretty good center fielder in front of him there. So I think he's going to be more of a fourth outfielder there in that situation. As far as Evan is concerned, he didn't get many at-bats last year. And the back issue, which is a chronic issue, was something that he had to get more comfortable with. The Rangers went to him, and when they sent him down this year, they talked about opening his stance up a little bit more. And now we're talking about biomechanics and all that, but it's necessary in this situation to open his stance up a little bit more, and that it would take a little bit of pressure off of his back. It took some time for him to get accustomed to that, But what we've seen over the last 3 weeks is the Evan Carter that the Rangers saw in 2023 and in the postseason in 2023, very disciplined at the plate. I think he had 7 extra base hits in his final 50 plate appearances at AAA. And last night, he certainly looked like he could run, had 2 hits. One of them was really soft, but his speed is a weapon that can turn softly hit balls into hits. So I think that the Rangers had hoped at the start of the season that Evan Carter would be their center fielder. That did not take place based on spring training, but I think they are ready to turn it over to him. And I don't think that you can say they sold themselves short in terms of an audition for Leody Taveras.
Okay, that's great insight. Evan, good combo there. This
By the way, you have a podcast? You have a podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what does this world come to? Like, you and John Blake, you guys going to talk Georgetown hoops from the 80s? Like, Hoya Paranoia or what?
Well, I'm sure there will be some references to that. But listen, John Blake is a legend in the baseball industry, has worked in Major League Baseball for 47 years, spent 40 years as the Rangers communications czar and PR czar, and he even found a way to get along with you, AJ. So he and I got together and we talked about this organization and the idea that we could bring some of my knowledge or my quote-unquote insight into the current team, and along with some insight into a very colorful history of the Rangers organization. And we're going to start our little podcast experiment next week. Michael Young is going to be the first guest. And before the end of the year, maybe we'll even talk to some wayward Texas Rangers catchers.
Nope. Don't make the cut.
Texas Rangers catchers.
Wow, that's really rough.
Giovanni Soto. Yes, perfect. Robinson.
We got plenty of names.
But we'll go with Giovanni Soto.
Boom. There you go. All right, we're out of time. Evan, this was awesome. Really good combo. Good luck with the pod. Obviously, let us know when it's happening, and we'll tune in.
All right, guys. Thank you. And it's always great being with you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Same here. We love it. BetMGM locks. First off, you've got your free game of the day. That's the Dodgers and the Marlins, and it's coming up in a couple hours if you're watching us live right now. If you're watching us after the fact, then it might already be happening. It's streaming on the BetMGM app, and live streaming is available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. Let's backtrack quickly. Yesterday, a dud. We all lost. Mine was the worst because, the Yankees ended up pulling away quite a bit on the pods, and it was a minus 110 piece. Everyone else went plus money, had a little more oomph than I did with being bold. Right.
I crushed mine. I don't understand how I lost. Claude messed up mine. She had it wrong, written down wrong.
Like the official scorer had it wrong?
No, I had the opposite of what she put up there, but whatever. It's fine. I won't complain.
Oh, is there a debate? Oh, okay. We can offline that. Okay, we can put something on the review. Stay tuned.
I'm just kidding. It just sounds better to argue that I did rather than just say I sucked yesterday.
Yeah, but we all did, so it's okay. And you were the boldest. You went plus 283. Cam gets to go first because he's actually up $25.
Yeah, I'm in the money. It's been a while, but you know what I'm gonna do? In honor of my boy Tommy Kahnle and his 10 years. I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers money line. I'm going to take my 100 and I'm going to put it down. Detroit Tigers money line and over the 10-run total. Detroit Tigers 100 will win you at 195, and we are in the money this year. This is our year to get all the money.
Boom. There you go. And you got a home run pick for us tonight too?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to go with the guy who just also got a ton of money and broke the piggy bank. Vlad Jr. is going to go deep tonight. I like the the matchup against the lefty, so I'm taking Vladdy to go deep.
Okay. I'll do my quickie pick too because I've got the Phillies minus 125 beating the Rays tonight. I just think that's pretty close for Christopher Sanchez matchup against Shane Baz. Baz coming off a bad one. Rays don't hit left-handed pitching well. I like Sanchez a lot to have a good start here and for the Phillies to keep the train rolling. They had a nice win. The offense looked really good yesterday. So just 125 to win a hundo. And we'll get AJ's pick plus parlay Pap, maybe. I mean, Pap's coming on. I just don't know if he's parlay Pap with his pick coming up in a few minutes. So what happened? I mean, we just got a quick clip here in yesterday's game. Did you guys see this? Because I didn't catch this game.
I did not.
It looked like the umpire just said strike 3, but didn't move. It was weird. It was a weird strike call. He's just like strike 3. What?
He vocally called a strike, but then it was ball 4.
I don't know. It was umpires make mistakes. We should know this by now. Umpires have been known to make a mistake or two.
He malfunctioned. I'm not sure what happened.
Haven't you ever been with someone who's like, yeah, we just make a left, and they're pointing right, and you're like, you mean right? So it's like strike, but he didn't do the call, so he really just meant ball.
Yeah.
Hey, but AJ, I'm not sure who it was. There was a guy who did have a very subtle strike call, and from the dugout, you like what? Like it was very.
Tim McClellan used to barely speak. He used to go, and it'd take forever. He'd be like, he would say it.
Yeah.
So you could hear it, but he would be like, strike 3, and then it would take him a minute to like go like,
That's
right.
That's
so everyone knew at the plate, but nobody knew outside of the plate.
Yes.
So he would be like, strike 3, and you're like, oh, that's it. Let's throw this around, and then like 10 seconds later, he's like, Now, granted, Tim McClellan was like 6'8".
Yeah, that's what I'm.
That's a good
about.
signature move.
Yeah, you would hear him, and like if you were watching, you're like, oh, okay, he's walking back to the dugout, strike 3. You never really saw it at the end. Like it was like slow, methodical, and very low.
And then you had Tom Hallion that would call strike 3, and the pitches barely left the pitcher's hand. He's already like strike 3, and you're like, he ain't thrown the ball yet.
Hey AJ, we used to see Tom Hallion behind the plate. Old dog used to be like, hey, you better swing the bat today. 2 strikes. You better.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting his workout in. All right, we'll be right back. We'll do slap hands.
What's up, my people of FT Nation, all my FT gamblers? It's not Parlay Pal, and it's not Prop Bet Pat today because I've been losing my ass on them. And so we just going to pick 'em Pat. We back to just pick 'em Pat now. So we gonna pick one game. And look, I did the Red Sox game with our girl Lana Rizzo last night, and look, she was just talking about how bad the Colorado Rockies suck. So I think I'm just going to ride them until I get back in the plus column, and then we'll start getting a little bit more crazier with our bets. But right now, I'm just taking the Detroit Tigers -1.5 in the run line at -110. We're putting 200 on it. We're going to get back in that win column. Let's get it.
AJ, Pap's struggling. He's struggling so much that he's not even picking on your White Sox anymore. He's picking on the Rockies.
Welcome to the struggle bus, Pap. I feel you, buddy. I feel you, pal.
True. All right. Well, you're last. Yeah, you got money to make
well,
up.
I'm going all kinds of crazy. Since we had Evan Grant on, and I know Brett Boone's a miracle worker, but I'm going under 9.5 in the Rangers Red Sox game, and I'm going over 9 in the Orioles Twins. Yeah, that's it. And that gets me to plus 250. I'm just betting 100. I was getting bold, betting 200, 300, but I was chasing. No more chasing. All right, I'm going to get a good strike. I'm going to make sure I swing, and if I have to take strike 3 because it wasn't a perfect pitch, then that's fine. But I'm just going to get back to not chasing.
Okay. At some point, AJ, you're going to go crazy again. But I get what you're saying. You got to get some wins on the board. Feel like you're in a good spot, and then you try and pounce with
good.
Yeah, something good. All right, so you're at plus 250. There's all the picks, the locks of the day. Good luck to everyone. And also, if you're rolling with a home run prop tonight, don't worry.
By the way, why don't I get
the fences?
I hit mine yesterday. I hit my home run prop. I didn't get no props for that.
Yeah,
Shohei,
you got a high five. Yeah, you did.
I
That's
said
true.
Shohei.
Really bold,
He won't
Shohei
pay you.
against the Marlins. BetMGM
I
has
think
your
do it again
back.
today.
He loves the Marlins. True. They've got your back. MLB home run no sweat tokens are there. So just activate your token on an MLB home run bet. If your bet comes up short, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we'll be right back. We're going to slap hands and talk about the Diamondbacks pitching staff on our way out. Some of the let's slap. And we're talking about the Diamondbacks. I don't remember if we mentioned this, but Corbin Burns, of course, is dealing with shoulder inflammation, cortisone shot. I mean, never great for your fresh signing. But then also, Merrill Kelly has been dealing with these cramps. So he's been plagued with hydration issues. He's had leg cramps during games. He's had this pop up quite a bit this year already. And fans are sending in bottles of pickles to help. He said he's had some of them, or that's what his manager, Torey Lovullo, said, and that they're pretty good. I heard a good idea. I think it was from our buddy Jim Bowden on his radio show. What do you think about this, AJ? Bowden said that sometimes they used to give IVs to pitchers who had issues like this before games. I don't know. Maybe he's done this already, but there's got to be a way to do like extra hydration to make sure that this doesn't pop up.
They must watch Foul Territory because Tyler Glasnow said pickle juice. Remember? We had that whole thing. And also, I knew players that used to get IVs before games all the time.
Me too. Absolutely. And when I was in Anaheim, I used to. For some reason, when I was playing in Anaheim, I had to get a few IVs, and it did wonders. And pickle juice works wonders. But I wouldn't be drinking pickle juice for no fans, AJ.
Cam, I'm just gonna say this. I don't know because I ain't never had a cramp, so I don't know. You guys are just wusses that get cramp. I don't understand.
You gotta have muscles to cramp, AJ.
I got look at this thing. Look at that thing.
Hey, be careful drinking other people's pickle juice.
Be careful drinking that pickle juice from other people. I'm telling you.